Hello and welcome. I'm Dr. Yasmine S, cardiologist and best-selling author, and this is my podcast, Pawsitive Vibes on the Sunny Side. Each week, my goal is to bring you uplifting stories and insights to inspire you to live your happiest, healthiest, most positive life. So thank you for joining me. So I have a couple of quick updates for you this week. In case you missed it, my Pawsitive Vibes monthly e-magazine went out last week. You can subscribe to it for free on my website, www.yasminealimd.com. That's YasmineAlimd.com. I'll put that link in the show notes, of course. And I'm pleased to say that with the merging of my heart health newsletter, Speak for the Heart, with my Pawsitive Vibes newsletter, and with the addition of a couple of sections, this truly has become an e-magazine, which is what I had envisioned for Pawsitive Vibes when I first launched the idea a couple of years ago. And I'm happy to be able to share it with you for free. If you are already a newsletter subscriber to any of my prior newsletters, you don't need to do anything. You'll continue to receive that monthly ray of sunshine in your inbox. And if you haven't yet subscribed, you can do so at www.yasminealimd.com, and you'll get a free Pawsitive Vibes ebook too. Also, if you happen to be in Middle Tennessee this weekend, remember that the inaugural Pasadillo Festival and 5K Run and Ramble is taking place in Waverly, Tennessee, this Saturday, October 4th. In episode 2 of this podcast, you heard from Patty Damesworth all about the mythical Pasadillo, the legend behind it, and the great cause that the Pasadillo Festival aims to support. And speaking of support, if you would like to show your support for this podcast, you can do so at www.buymeacoffee.com/onthesunnyside. That's www.buymeacoffee.com/onthesunnyside. And I'll put that link in the show notes as well. Finally, I'm excited to share that I've now completed creation of the 2026 Book Lovers Calendar. So there will be 2 limited edition collector's item calendars for sale this year. The 12 Months of Christmas calendar, featuring a beautiful, heartwarming Christmas image for every month of the year, and Legendary Lines, a 2026 calendar for book lovers, featuring quotes from beloved literary classics paired with unique and vivid illustrations. All of the images and designs were created by me, and you won't find these calendars anywhere else, so they truly are collector's editions. I'm finishing the quality assurance process on them now, and they should be ready for sale in mid or late October through my online bookstore. That's www.lastskywriting.com, and the link will be in the show notes. I'll let you know, though, when they're available, so stay tuned for that announcement. Oh, and Pawsitive Vibes e-magazine subscribers will get first notice of early discounts and deals on these calendars, so be sure to subscribe, as I mentioned above. Link is in the show notes. And let's get into today's interview. This is a Pawsitive Vibes interview episode. The Pawsitive Vibes podcast strives to present a variety of viewpoints from all walks of life. The opinions of interviewees are their own, and you and I may not agree with everything that everybody says. In fact, I'd be worried about us if we did. But all of my guests share this in common: they are positive people who take action to improve themselves and the world around them. And I find that I learn something from every single one. I hope you will too. Today is a Positive Vibes episode, and that's PAW in positive. And those who have followed my newsletter know that I always have a PAW positive section toward the end to celebrate our four-legged friends and family. Because what could be more positive than the pure joy our pets can bring us? And we happen to be recording this on August 26th, which is National Dog Day. So today I'm delighted to be speaking with Jacqui Foster, who is a certified professional dog trainer and the founder of Wren's Pups, LLC, her own dog training business. And there will be a link to that in the show notes. Jacqui has been a dog trainer for about 15 years now and knows so much about dogs and has more training certifications than I can count, really. But here are just a few of them. In addition to being a certified professional dog trainer, Jacqui is also a certified trick dog instructor, which I know well as she has helped me title most of my dogs in various levels of the American Kennel Club's Trick Dog program. She is a canine conditioning fitness coach, a canine good citizen evaluator, a stunt dog trainer and judge, an animal acting certified evaluator, a pro dog trainer, and so much more. I can tell you firsthand that she is constantly learning and keeping up to date on all the latest in the dog training world. But what I can also tell you about Jacqui is that she has helped me train nearly all of my own dogs, even and especially the most challenging ones. I can never thank her enough for that and for teaching me so much about dog training and handling. Jacqui believes that learning should be fun rather than a chore, both for the dog and for the human. As she herself puts it, she looks at training as a way for you and your dog to better understand each other through positive, interactive experiences. So, Jacqui, welcome to Positive Vibes.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's great to have you on the show. And you and I could talk about dogs all day long because we love dogs.
Yes, happy dog day to you.
Yes, happy dog day. Dogs are amazing. Jacqui, why do you think that is? Why do we love them so much?
Well, I think it's because they seem to understand us better than we believe that they can. And they communicate with us without talking, which to me seems amazing, but I think that that's intriguing to us as well.
What are some like specific amazing things you've seen dogs do? I know you've told me some stories over the years.
Well, I'll tell you, the one thing that really sticks out in my mind is like my favorite dog that I've always wanted to own is the Bloodhound. And remember when little Sebastian went missing there in Tennessee? I was driving to visit a client and happened upon them doing the search and rescue with the bloodhounds there. And to me, that is amazing that these dogs can take that and just look for somebody and discover them and track, that's just amazing to me.
Their noses and different dogs have even better scent capabilities than others, different breeds, but still the species of dog, their noses is like 100,000 times more powerful than ours are, right?
Yes, yes, very much. It's one of their strongest point.
Yeah, I was actually reading the other day that dogs, I mean, we always say dogs see the world through their noses, but they literally do. Apparently, the visual parts of their brain are connected to their sense of smell. So they literally
Yeah.
do like see through
Yeah, it's
their
interesting how their nostrils like bring it in and separate and we could go on about that forever too, but yeah, they're amazing.
Well, speaking of scent, since we're on that, I know that you have trained dogs in scent work, or no, at least nose work. As AKC calls it, AKC being the American Kennel Club for anyone who might not know that. The nose work. How do you start to train a dog on nose work?
So I think the one thing that, like, the most important thing is for the dog to learn what pays. So, for instance, in scent work, you always teach them that the scent is what pays, not going, not anything else. But when they find the scent, they go, oh, this is it. And that's what pays. So and that's what they do for like the search and rescue and everything. It's like this scent is what pays out the most for them.
And paying the reward being what?
Food, toy, really, whatever the dog really enjoys.
Mhm. How do you find out what a dog really enjoys? When you're working with your own dog, how do you find that out?
Well, for me, with Shumi, he's a nutcase, so he's very enthusiastic.
So let's stop a moment. Introduce everyone to Shumi. Shumi is your mini Aussie,
Yes, he's
or
a mini
was it
Australian
the
Shepherd.
technically miniature American?
Miniature American, yes,
Okay,
yes.
okay.
For AKC purpose, yes, he's titled as a American Shepherd, mini American Shepherd. He's 3 years old and he is typical Aussie. So I have to employ him a lot. So when I first like the first thing I taught him, and it's really like the first thing I teach anybody, is to go to a place, which is where he is right now while we're talking. He's sitting on his bed over here. So that's one of the main things that I teach everybody because it's very useful, not just for overzealous, enthusiastic dogs, but for any dog. If you need them to be in a place where you know where they are and they're stationary and you've got that under control. So I've worked a lot on that with him, and I also know that he likes to go find things. So we play a lot of catch the ball, fetch the ball. He loves frisbee, so we do a lot of frisbee. And I think just playing with your dog and figuring out what their type of play is. Like, are they pushy? Like I know German Shepherds can sometimes be pushy players, right? They play with
Yes.
me, play with me, play with me, play with me. And yeah, some dogs like, border collies are like, just tell me what to do and I'll go do it and leave me alone. And Aussies are like, what do you want to do? Let's do it, let's do it, let's do it, let's do it. So just playing with them and figuring out what their type of play is.
And so is the play itself a type of reward?
Play is a huge reward. It's not just, I mean, they love to play. They learn a lot. If you watch them in their litters when they're playing and they're biting and I mean, it's a lot. It's a learning experience. It's a learning experience. If you watch the dogs play, and I know you and I have talked about play a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I think a lot of people think that playing is here, shove this in my face and play with me. Whereas if you think about a dog, they don't want it shoved in their face. They want to run after it and chase it like it's something that's alive. So instead of shoving it in their face, I say run it around on the ground and let them chase it and show you how they play. So, dogs are more hunt oriented or prey oriented at some point in their life. So,
So
so yeah.
you make a really good point because some dogs we often think, okay, go fetch a tennis ball. That's, I think a game that most people know to play or try to play with their dog. But there are a lot of dogs who don't want to fetch a tennis ball. So what do I've had those dogs. I have a golden retriever now who thankfully loves to fetch anything you want because he's a retriever, but he's the only retriever I've ever had. So, most dogs will want to do something else. So, what are some other things that they might do?
Tug is big. Tug, tug, tug. Chasing something is always fun. Um, like I said, he also with Shumi, he likes to not only fetch, but to pick things up with his mouth. So we can teach tricks of put this here or take this there kind of thing. So it's not just interacting with you, it's here. go do this on your own. Pick this up and take it and put it in the trash, for instance, or pick this up and put it over there, or bring it to me, or whatever it is. So those kind of just any kind of job you can think of that your dog can do. Go sit on that bed. That's a job. Him sitting there, he's got a job. He knows eventually it's going to reward, so he's going to stay there until his job is done.
That's a great way to put it. So what will Shumi's reward be when we're done here and he's finished his job of sitting there? What will his what will
Well,
his reward be?
we're probably going to go outside and throw a little frisbee.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah, okay. That gives us a good idea. Okay. Yeah. We were talking about amazing things that dogs can do, and you opened by talking about how they can communicate with us. What are some of the ways dogs do communicate with us that maybe a lot of us don't know or didn't know growing up?
So a lot of dogs, it's all in their body language, and I know you've probably seen it with like Wyatt, for instance, that he'll just come and like look at you like, hey, hey, hey.
Yes.
Shumi will do that. He'll sit in front of me and just stare at me like, hey, hey. And if you listen to them, they'll tell you what they want. Like I can ask him what, and he'll take me over to his bone jar and say, I want this bone, or I want to go outside, or whatever that may be. So that's one way. Another way that, I see a lot happen is people take their dogs and they just want to throw them into these situations with other dogs. And if you watch your dog, some dogs you can see are like very uncomfortable with that, or like a child running up to them. Some dogs are like, whoa, that's just not my thing. And a lot of people don't watch that. And so it can become a very tragic thing with a dog bite or something of that nature. So it's not just all the good stuff, but there is stuff that you got to watch on your own dog as well as other dogs. It's body language.
Absolutely. And what are some of the ways that a dog shows discomfort?
So they will look away. They will do a really big lip lick from like one side all the way to the other. Flicking of the ears, bowing of the head, narrowing of the eyes, tightening of the mouth. A relaxed dog is a dog whose ears are light and whose jaw is kind of loose and not, clenched. So just signs of uncomfort, tail tucking, running behind you, different things, all those typical things that I see that a lot of people just don't.
And so I imagine that's something that you have to train the humans that you work with to see is
Yeah.
when their dog is showing signs of stress.
Right. Yeah. It's a big thing. And people, they don't realize that your dog is stressed out until, that bite comes or something, and they get away and they run, they take off and they're gone. And,
Mhm.
those type of things. And it's all because like fireworks, a lot of dogs are lost during fireworks because they don't like them and they run away. And I mean, he's one that doesn't like any big noises. He doesn't like thunder. He doesn't like fireworks. He doesn't like loud trucks. He doesn't like motorcycles, any loud noise. So I have to make sure that I get him to understand that they're not going to kill him.
Right?
They're- You're not going to die when this noise happens. It's okay. We're still having those conversations today. So,
So, I would imagine there are a lot of people in the same boat because I hear this from my friends who have dogs. It's very common dogs who don't like loud noises, fireworks, and especially among the herding breeds. So, what do you do to help Shumi during those times?
so first of all, I have to calm myself down because it can be very stressful to the human. So that's my first thing is take a few deep breaths and understand that he's just doing all he knows what to do. So, which to him is a lot of barking and spinning and pacing. So, what I do is I've tried a bunch of different things. So, I've tried, um, like frozen bones with stuff in it that he licks. I've tried licky mats. And he's one for him that has to interact with me. I've come to find out. So, I've gotten This, have you seen in Costco like the squeezy apple juice or applesauce for kids?
Yeah,
So I got those. I got a box of those, and he will lick. Licking is very soothing, so I will squeeze a little when the thunder happens, and he'll lick, lick, lick until I see him start to slow it down a little bit. And then we'll pause and we'll wait for the next bound of thunder, and we'll do it again and again and again.
I see.
So
I see. What if you're not there with him? Is there a thunder shirt that he wears or anything like that?
it's funny because those type of things have to be trained. Like you can't just slap it onto the dog and then they're calm because that's not how it works. And for him, he's okay when I leave because I've crate trained him, so he's very fine in his crate. If it happens at night when we're in bed, he's fine if he's in his crate. So that's okay for him. But some dogs will tear through the blinds or chew on the wall. And that's where crate training is a good idea for some dogs, and it gives them a nice safe place where they can chill out and not worry about anything.
Yeah. Yeah. And you mentioned licking being a soothing activity. Something else you taught me was that sniffing can also be soothing for dogs.
Yes, yes, yes. So like we do snuffle mats, and I will, at times if he's hyper and I've got company over, then I will take his dinner in my hand and throw it out into the yard, and he will sniff and he will be fine, and I don't have to worry about him.
Right.
And then by the time he's done and he comes in, he's all nice and chill. So that works
Yeah.
out well.
So at some point you were teaching a dog, and I don't remember if it was Shumi or Alonso, but you were teaching a dog to actually press buttons to tell you words. Like dogs can do this.
Yeah, yeah. Dogs are funny. I mean, you have to relate it to something. They don't just know off the bat. So I've done it with him a little. I taught him the word out I got those little buttons off of Amazon that you can record your voice. And I recorded the word out and I put it by the back door and he'd press it and it'd say out and I'd open the door and let him out.
Oh, that's cool.
So he will press it and say it, but then sometimes he just gets like anxious and he'll be like out, 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 out. I'm like, oh gosh, what have I done?
I created a monster. Well, we have bells on our doors that serve that purpose, as you know. And yes, it gets overused sometimes. It's like
When
they're
they're
playing.
bored, it's like, let me out, let me out, let me out, let me out, let me out.
Turns into this is I'm playing my song. I'm playing my song on these bells. Let me out. It is hard. This is something I was talking about with my husband. It's hard these days because of the lifestyles that we lead now and the fact that most dog breeds were created before modern times and they were all created with specific jobs they were supposed to do. Most dogs, with the exception of the toy breeds, weren't meant to just hang out with you or just hang out all day and certainly not to hang out all day alone. So what are some tips for how we keep our dogs from getting so bored?
Well, um, they love the interaction. I mean, from the time we brought the dog into our lives, we've taught them to do things, and they used to guard our houses way back when they first started domesticating them. Now they're domesticated and all of that, but they still have instincts that come with them. Um, like him, for example, he's hurting, so he's he's blessed, I guess I will say, with a very, very strong herding instinct. So, so I'm hoping to get into a herding spot where he can do something like that. Where like now we're kind of learning tri-ball, which I don't know if you know what that is,
You,
but
yeah, I know what it is, but I bet a lot of people don't. So please tell us.
so it's a modern urban herding. And what you use workout type balls, and you teach your dog to go out and push the ball into a goal like area, and then you send them out. There's like 5 or 6 balls, I think, and you have to send them out and they have to know which one to get and which one, and they can't push it just anywhere. It's got to come right to you in this like goalie area. So that's a good way for herding breeds to get out a lot of that herding instinct, is to do that because it's a herding thing. They're just not herding sheep or livestock. So there's that. And yeah, so I also use the flirt pole, which is the horse whip with a toy on the end. That's always
You
a
taught
fun
me to
one.
do that. Yeah, with my German Shepherd. Yeah. Worked magically.
Yeah, that's a fun one. He used to not be so into it, but he's gotten back into it now that I've kept him away from it for a while. So now he's back into chasing it and loving it, which is great for me because that's a tiring activity.
Yes. Yes. The tiring activities. We like those.
Tired dog is a good dog.
So, so you remind me now of one of your many certifications, and that's Canine Conditioning Fitness Coach. What is that?
So what that is really like stretching your dog, and a lot of static movements and a lot of, like you do with babies, you do their feet, run their feet, and then there's that, and then there's ones where they're standing and you work their legs and their bodies and help them. For instance, he has pulled his back leg out, so we're working a lot on the stretch, helping him pull the stretch and get his body in line again. So kind of making sure that your dog looks the way he should look and helping him to get to that point.
You know, I bet a lot of people don't know that dogs even need such a thing, that dogs need physical conditioning. I mean, I think, being in the dog sports world, people know who do that will know that, but I think the average person probably has never heard of this. What do you
Yeah.
find?
I agree. Yeah, I mean, people just think, oh, me, even my own husband, come on, does your dog doesn't need therapy? Like, well, yeah, he kind of does. You don't want a big doctor bill. Yeah, he does need some therapy.
Yeah, because
So
certainly,
yeah, I do find that because a lot of people just say, "What is it?" And I mean, you can get titled in it. Your dog can get titled in it now too. So
so
they do
what
it.
is the title?
Well, there's some fitness. There's like novice fitness. I think the AKC does some of it as well. They have that fit. Oh,
They have an AKC Fit program. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
And I think theirs is more of a walking type of thing more
Mhm.
than, but I do think they have a stretching one now, if I'm not mistaken. But this is alongside of the trick dog. This is another way to help your dog stretch.
Mhm. And you also are a stunt dog trainer and an animal acting certified So that sounds really cool. Could you tell us more about that?
So gosh, it's been years since I've actually used it, because I haven't got a lot of interest in it. But um, stunt dogs, they do a lot of sending them out to do things, jumping into cars, grabbing onto people, working with a different person. Having another person walk off with your dog on a movie set is something that you have to train because a lot of dogs will be like, wait, no, my person's back there. Um, Animal acting, yeah, it's all about you're about 5 feet from your dog at all times, but your dog has to do these tricks, individual or outside of you, and more looking like they're acting within the movie or with another person and not with you. So that's,
So you're off camera and the dog is with the actor and it has to look real.
yeah, it's funny. Like I don't know if you've seen this show that's on now called, oh, what's it? Rex. What's his name? Hudson and Rex. It's a
Yeah, I've
series.
seen the commercial for it, the trailer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I watched the whole series of it, and if you watch Rex or any of the other dogs that they bring in, you can tell that he's being told, which
Yes, you
is
can
which
see
is
his
something that he
focus is
shouldn't be.
off screen. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, you can tell if you watch Rex that he's like looking for, oh, I need to go over here and sniff this now. So it's interesting, to watch. And some dogs you can't tell at all that they're being coached, and some dogs like Rex you can tell. So it's interesting for me to watch all of that on TV and in movies and stuff.
Oh, I bet it is. Do you have a favorite movie starring a dog or featuring a dog?
You know, the Racing in the Rain, The Art of
Oh my
Racing in the
goodness.
Rain.
I should have known, given your love of racing and your love of dogs. That's perfect.
Yes, I love that movie.
Oh my goodness. So I'm going to ask you this. What do you love most about dog training?
I love the moment that people see their dog do something they never thought it would do.
Yes.
Like that is, to me, that is the most rewarding thing. Like to see a person go, oh my gosh, I never thought he would do that. And then their relationship becomes much more intertwined. And from that point on, they become more of a team.
Speaking of which, what are some of the most bonding activities that people can do with their dogs? Like I had a trainer tell me once that bonding, just walking with your dog is a bonding activity.
Yeah, I mean, it is. I think, anything that you do with your dog is a bonding thing. Playing with your dog is a bonding thing. Training with your dog is a bonding thing. Anything that you and your dog do together is a bonding experience for them because they're always like, I love you so much. Let's just do something together.
Yeah. And you're quoted in several of the articles I've written about dogs because I think of you as such an expert in this area, and specifically having to do with playing with your dog. And I'll link to a post on my blog that I wrote about that, and you're quoted in it. But why is it so important to play with your dog? We've talked around this, I think, but I know it's so big for you. So, and you were really the person who helped me see this. Um, just could you talk more about that?
Um, yeah, I mean, I think that play helps you not just bond, but it helps you understand what is exciting to your dog and what motivates your dog. I think it's also great for your dog because they're learning more about how to interact with you and what you like and don't like as well. Um, it's, I think it's just a wonderful way, and I think it's a fun way to bond and to understand your dog.
Yeah, and it's so important for the human beings too. And I'll post that article, but what it does for us as humans in terms of stress relief and lower blood pressure and more exercise and just having fun.
Right.
Dogs can bring that out in a way that almost no one, nothing else can.
Yeah. Yeah. I can laugh really, really hard at my dog sometimes.
Yes,
Yeah.
dogs are funny.
Dogs are funny. Yes, they are.
So, how did you get to be a dog trainer, Jackie? One of the things I really love talking about on this show and that I'm really interested in is how people find careers they love. So, how did that come about for you?
Oh, kind of a long story. We moved to Phoenix from Cincinnati and for my husband's job. And so he was working all day every day and I was not. So I was bored. So I went out looking for some volunteer opportunities. I first went to a horse place that worked with the handicap, and they didn't really seem interested in having any volunteers. So I found a dog place, so I went to the dog place, and the head person there had set up a training way that you could take one of the shelter dogs and take it to a training facility, and you could train with it for free so that the dog gets the skills that it needs to be adopted, right? So I did that. I did that almost every day. I would go take a different dog. I'd take the same dog if it was still there, and I would take it and we'd go train every day. So when I went to the training facility every day, I got to know the people there. And the owner approached me and said, "Hey, how would you like to come to work for me?" And I was like, okay. So she put me through dog walking school. So I got my dog walking certification. Um, so that was an interesting ordeal, but I learned a lot through that. And then once I was doing that and we set up, I worked with the owner of the dog facility and we set up different, like I like games. You know me and games. I love games. So we would set up different things. Like it was hot in Arizona. So during the summer, we would bring all the dogs that I was walking indoors and we would play games. I would teach them some agility. I would teach them some tricks. We would have a group play session and we would, I'd watch how they play and interact together. And then she's like, I was like, you know what? I really like to learn how to train. So she said, well, if you get your certification, we can give you your own classes here. So I went and got my own certification and worked for her and just been training ever since.
But you didn't stop at that certification. I mean, as I mentioned at the beginning, you have so many certifications. And it
Yeah,
seems
yeah, I'm a sponge. It's like any new thing that comes up, I'm like, I want to know how to do that. I want to know how to do that. I want to know how to do that. And luckily, I have a dog that will do anything, so we try everything.
would you say that, this is your breed? I mean, there are some people who have a particular breed, that's their breed. Do you think that the mini Aussie, the miniature American, technically under AKC, do you think that's your breed?
You know, I guess I have to say yes. Considering he's my second one, although albeit he's extremely opposite of Alonzo, he's much, much more enthusiastic than Alonzo was. But yeah, I think they just grab my heart.
Yes, I understand that. So I'm always interested in which breeds the trainers choose. So I pay really close attention to that, and I've seen a lot of trainers with Aussies. So what is it about the Australian Shepherd? Because I personally have never had one.
Yeah, well, I mean, I my first dog was a German Shepherd. It was
Hmm.
Red, who I mean, I love that dog. He was bomb proof. I had little kids that could climb on him and pull his ears and tail, and I mean, he was the best dog. I went for the little Aussie because I had never seen one. And in Arizona, there was a woman who came in and she had them. And I was like, oh my God, what is that? Like, well, I've never seen this dog before. And she told me, and she's like, oh, well, you can have one of mine for 10 grand. And I was like,
10
yeah,
grand?
no. Yeah, 10 grand. I was like, yeah, no, I don't think I can. So I researched a little bit, and that's when I found Alonzo, who was left at the breeder at 6 months old. So I got him then, and I mean that's where it started. I didn't
Yeah.
really plan on it. I just saw him and went, "Wow, that's kind of cool." I think the thing that probably most trainers like about them is that they're very eager to learn. Like they want to know how to do. They want to do something all the time. And for a trainer, you can try anything on these dogs. They will do anything. Like I know like there's other dogs, like I know Ren was like, I will do some things, but there are other things that I'm just not gonna do.
Yeah. Yep.
But it. They're like, I will do anything. I will run into a wall if you want me to. So I think that that's what trainers like. But a lot of them have border collies too. The thing that I just don't know about border collies. I haven't ever really had one, but to me, it's always been they're most happy when they're doing their own job.
Sure.
Like, just tell me what to do and I'll go do it, and you just leave me alone.
Right.
That's
Have
what I
you
thought was the difference between Aussies and border collies was Aussies want you to tell them what to do, and border collies say, just let me do it.
Yes, yes. So, among the dogs that you train, and I know that you train a lot of mixed breeds too, and a lot of rescues of all kinds. So, put that out there. But I just want to ask, among the dogs that you train, is there, like, what do you most commonly see in terms of breeds or breed mixes? What usually comes to you as a trainer?
I've seen a lot of shepherds. I see a lot of doodles. A lot of doodles.
Yes, don't we all? We see a lot of doodles.
Lot of doodles, a lot of yeah. I've seen. I mean, I had interestingly, I just had it was a border collie mix that they had adopted from a shelter, and I got a message from them just the other day. It's probably been 2 years. The dog came to me first because they were having a baby and they wanted the dog to be okay with the baby and all the things that go with the baby. So we worked on that, and then they came back for loose leash walking because the dog was more energetic about seeing other dogs. So so we worked on that, and we used Shoe Me with that, and we had my husband out there working and he would help. So they just sent me a picture just the other day that now they're walking with the baby and the dog on the greenways,
Oh,
which they
wow.
said they never thought it would happen.
Ah, wow. It's one of those great moments as a trainer. Oh, and you help make that happen.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's wonderful.
yeah.
You mentioned, the interaction with other dogs and, as someone who has worked on this with many different kinds of, and I'm almost always, with a couple of exceptions, had guardian breeds or guardian breed mixes. So, what would you tell people about dogs meeting each other? Because a lot of people who have doodles, perhaps, assume that all dogs want to play together and meet each other and be happy together.
Yeah, which we all know is not true, right?
Right.
I always say, dogs are a lot like us, so they don't want to know every dog or every person that is alive. Some do. Mine will mine will go meet anything anytime. Um, but there are those that don't. And I always tell people, especially when you're walking on leash, don't meet dogs leash on, when they're leashed together, because I've seen so many people running down the street with their dog pulling them, and they're going, no, don't worry, he's friendly. Well, that's all well and good, but a big dog rushing at another dog, to the dog it's rushing at, it looks like an impinging, something imposing force that's going to come and hurt them or do something. So they're bracing for impact.
And they're restrained by a leash, so they can't
Right,
go
so they can't
anywhere.
get away.
They can't get away. They have very few options.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So my big thing is don't introduce them on leash. And the whole my dog is friendly. I would strike that out of vocabulary if I could, but
I love that. That is definitely one of the most common misconceptions. And there is something called leash aggression, isn't there? And fence aggression. So these
yeah,
barriers that we introduce, if a dog is frustrated by that barrier, they can become aggressive when they're not, ordinarily an aggressive dog.
right, right. It's frustration. Yeah, more than aggression, it's just frustration because they can't get to whatever it is or whoever it is, or it's very frustrating. I mean, you think about it, somebody was holding you by the back of your shirt saying, hey, go over there and say hi to that person. And then you can't go because they've got you and you're, what are you going to
Yeah.
do? My first thought is I'm going to turn around and punch the person in the face. So I imagine
Right?
my dog is probably going to do the same thing.
Right. So, for someone who is considering adding a dog to their family, should they think about? What should they be thinking about?
Think about your lifestyle. Number one, can you fit a dog into that lifestyle? If you're a busy person, like running all the time in places that you can't take a dog, then I would say probably not a good idea because dogs need attention. We all know that they want and need attention. Second thing is investigate, really think about what traits you want in a dog and look for those traits. Less the breed, more the traits is what I would say.
How do you evaluate traits in like a puppy, which is what so many people do get a dog as a puppy.
Right. So so my thing would be when you're looking at the puppies, um, the either look for the one that has the energy that you want. If you're if you're a hiker, if you're a jogger, if you've got an active, look for the one that is active. If you want, if you're looking for a dog just to hang out with you, look for the one that's hanging out in the back of the pack, or the kind of wanders up to you and maybe lays down next to you, you know, that, or the one that just, my whole thing is the one that just sits. If he looks at you and sits, that's the dog.
Oh, wow. That's yeah, so that's some early obedience right there. He looks at you and sits. Yep. You're starting out with an advantage. Well, so what are some traits in puppies that would signal to you that dog would be best served by a more experienced owner?
Like I say, probably the more go-getters or the ones that are chasing the rest of the puppies around. There's one dog that's all chasing all the puppies around and nobody's chasing him back. That's the bully, and that one's gonna need some help.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
play is two-way, it's not one way. So if a dog continuously chases another dog and they don't ever reciprocate, then that's a problem.
Yeah. What about those who may be adopting a rescue? What do you recommend? I mean, of course, lifestyle we talked about. Is there anything else?
Um, I mean, when they go and look at the dogs,
Right.
I would say go with your heart.
Mm-hmm.
I think you know when you look at a dog whether that's the one for you or not.
You
I really
do.
do. I mean, I think the dog picks you as much as you pick the dog.
I have to agree with that. Yeah, from my own experience. Yeah. So a little different track here. We're talking about training, and of course, that is what you do all the time. So, what are some of the basics you think every dog should be trained to do?
So like I said, I think the first thing is I would train him to go to a spot or a place or a mat or whatever. I would also crate train. I know some people are like vehemently against crate training, but it can be good for your dog. I mean, it's not only good for you, but it gives your dog a safe place to go. I'm not opposed to not crate training, but for me, I've always crate trained all my dogs. Um, and then like loose leash walking or teaching them to be like near you, wanting to be near you and walking alongside of you instead of running all around you. So just, walking with them, feed their dinner, walking with them next to you.
That's a great idea. And I
So
think you told me once that you have to be the source of all things good.
yes.
So the dog wants
Hopefully
to
you
be,
are.
the dog wants to be with you because good things come from you, from being with
Yeah,
you. Yeah.
exactly. We play with you, we give you your food. They want to
Okay,
come
so what
home.
is socialization? We hear that a lot. What is that? And why is it important?
So it's defined differently by different trainers, I think. Some say it's introducing your dog to 100 people in 100 different situations with 100 different outfits or whatever. The thing I would say about that is it depends on the dog. For example, my dog Alonzo was that would freak him out. Like putting him in those situations would be bad for him and would probably have turned him into a dog that you really didn't want to take anywhere. So I just would be careful. My thing is with socialization is I think if I can take my dog somewhere and they don't react to anything, like they can walk through a park and not be freaked out or barking or pulling or any of that, then they're socialized. They know that these things go on and they don't really have to be a part of it, but if you want me to, I will. But to me, that's what socialization is more than putting them in all these situations.
Are there certain things they should be exposed to? If you get a dog as a puppy, especially.
So I think, like I said, with the noise thing is so hard. This is the first dog that I've owned that has been this freaked out by noises. And I think my last dog, what we did with him was we sat outside during the rains and you know, we played with him or we made it a non-issue. Whereas I think here I was, doing so much training that I didn't really get to spend that kind of time to help him overcome that. I think, those are big things that you can't control really. Because like people you can control, stop, don't touch my dog, whatever. Other dogs you can stop, leave them alone. You get them out of those situations with fireworks or thunder or any of that kind of stuff. That just happens and you can't duplicate it in any way. So those type of things I would start maybe desensitizing with maybe some of the sounds that they might hear, playing them low while you're playing a game or, just playing those sounds so that they're low and in the background so that when they do start to ramp up, it's not such a big deal.
And I know that most breeders, if not all breeders worth their salt, will expose the litter to, everyday sounds of the household, like the vacuum cleaner and the dishwasher and things just go that happen in every house. But, there are dogs who are not socialized to that could be freaked out by a vacuum cleaner, for instance.
Yeah, yeah. Shumi likes to chase them.
Shumi is bold. So, speaking about socialization and tangential to that is visiting the vet. Is there a way to get a dog comfortable with visiting the vet?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really easy if you just take some time. I mean, I'd start like you said, people get them when they're a puppy. I would start, mess with their feet, their ears, their eyes, their tails, every part of them. Take them to the stop in the vet when you're not even gonna have an appointment and have them give him food or, put him on the scale and give him some food and take him and then just leave. So it's a pleasant experience more than an oh my gosh, I'm gonna get, groped by this person I don't know. So it's more just starting early and you know, letting them get to know that this is not a bad place, that every time you get in the car and we go here, you're not gonna get a shot in the neck or, some
Right. So, I want to go back to dog sports now because you have done a little bit of that, and you've done a lot of that actually. So, some people may not know that there are dog sports, or they may not know much about that world. Can you tell us something about them, about some of the most common dog sports?
well, I know like agility is a big one everybody knows about because it's on TV all the time. Um, That's a fun one. We do a little bit of that. We don't compete in anything. We just play around with it all. Um, but that's a fun one. They have those, I think at most dog parks now they have some of them have that different materials for agility. But that's a fun one.
And for
Um,
anyone who doesn't know, agility is basically the doggy obstacle course. So,
oh, sorry.
Because there, believe it or not, there will be people who have not done agility with their dogs or who are listening to this and don't have dogs. And it's an interesting world, especially for people who don't have dogs. This whole world is very, it's very different. And we may sound a little bit crazy if you don't have a dog. So, but there is a whole world of dog sports. And if you've ever watched ESPN or, even when they do the National Dog Show, they'll have an agility show. And yeah, that's the doggy obstacle course. So the dog is running around and the dog to complete the obstacle course in the correct order in the fastest amount of time wins. So it is a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun. Yeah, that's a fun one. We've started, since he loves frisbees, we've started playing frisgility, which is, it's basically what it is we have a tunnel in like a U shape, and on each end of the tunnel out from it is a jump. So they start by going into the tunnel and they come out and jump a jump and then they catch the frisbee. And then they come back and we do it again.
So at what point do you actually throw the frisbee when they come right
So
out of the
I'm
tunnel?
still working that out.
Uh, you're still working that out. Okay.
I have a dog who doesn't look up or look back. So I've hit him in the head with a frisbee. It's been right over top of his head and he's missed it. So yeah, we have to we're working on our timing. So that's something that, we haven't really worked a lot on, but I happened to see it on the National Dog Show or the Dog Network, whatever that was. I saw it and I went, ooh, that looks like fun.
That's neat. And you talked about tri-ball, and of course there are actually herding sports as well, where I think it's actually more of a herding trial for dogs who are from the herding breeds who can actually go and trial and show off their prowess in herding sheep or ducks or cattle, whatever it may be. But there's also obedience, competition obedience, which is I think the other big one after
Yeah.
agility. And that's the healing, kind of like competition healing, where the dog is walking right beside you in a specific, format, and you have to do a number of different to the dog. So what's interesting to me is you have to do a number of different things, but to the dog, you taught me this, they're all tricks.
Hmm.
When you tell a dog to sit, that's a trick. That's actually, otherwise, and you reward them. Well, how is that different from, sitting pretty, which you have the dog sit in sort of a begging position where they come up on, their front legs are up in front of them. And, when you have them healing beside you, that's a kind of trick too, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Everything, because it's not something, anything's a trick that they wouldn't do naturally. So they wouldn't naturally walk next to you and look up at you and prance like they do without that being a trick, because that's not something they would do on their own. They don't do that with other dogs. They don't prance along with each other.
Right.
Any, I'd like to see that sometime.
Right, right. And then, of course, there's nose work, scent work.
There's barn hunt, which is like for those schnauzers or Jack Russells or those dogs that are made to go hunt for those rodents. So
Barn
barn hunt
hunt.
is a neat.
Yes, I had totally forgotten about barn hunt. That's a really fun way. And some of the more advanced parts of barn hunt actually combine a little bit of agility with the hunting because you have to go over the bales of hay or go under something
Yeah.
else. And yeah. Um, yeah. So, well, for those who just want to play with their pet dog, what are a couple of games that you recommend at home?
Um, I like to teach your dog to spin, do a circle, circle left and a circle right. I think those are fun because those are useful in different situations. Um, I like middle. We know we've discussed middle where the dog comes between your legs. That's another form of sending them to a boundary or a place. You can put them into middle and they can learn to walk with you and all different types of things. That's always fun. It's fun for you. It's actually, it works for in different situations. So it's not just a trick. It's but it looks cool too. So bonus.
You this is a really useful one because you told me once about a dog that you were watching and you had trained the dog or the owner had trained the dog to do middle and the dog had run off or was about to run off and you just
They were hound dogs after a deer. They
ah
took off and they had an electric fence and I didn't put the collars on them. I forgot. And we were out at dusk when the deer come out and they both took off full tilt after this deer. And I yelled middle and they stopped and they came back. And I was like, oh my gosh.
it works.
That's when I knew that's a really useful tool.
Yes. Yes. Ah, okay. So, I'm reminded of one other sport that I find fascinating, and I think you've actually done it or trained to do it. That's canine freestyle. That's where the
Yeah.
dog is dancing with you.
That's just a series of tricks in a row to music. Yeah, that's just a series of tricks that you do and to music and hopefully it looks good.
Right. Right. So, Jackie, something I want to ask you about is service dogs. And, maybe let's just start by debunking a common misconception, which is the difference between a therapy dog versus a service dog.
Then you could also throw in there an emotional service dog. So
And
there's
emotional support dogs, service
service, yeah.
dogs, therapy dogs. Yes. What are all
Yeah,
the
so the
differences?
big difference, so therapy dog goes and visits people and helps in like, goes and associates with people. Service dogs work for you. They are for your disability. Um, for example, he picks things up that I drop on the ground and because I can't bend over and get back up without feeling dizzy. So he picks up things for me. Um, so service dogs have to perform a service for you. Emotional, that the emotional um
Support.
word, yeah, sorry. They used to be covered by the ADA, but they are no longer covered by the ADA because people abused it too much. So now a emotional support dog is not got the same qualifications as a service dog. Um, and therapy dogs, I mean, you can go to hospitals, you go to schools, you go to disaster areas where, people need the kindness of a dog. They go to colleges for, the midterms or finals or whatever is happening there to give the kids something to relax them before they do all of that. So that's what therapy dogs are. And
And so you've mentioned your service dog. I also have a service dog who is a migraine service dog, and something really incredible that even as a physician I didn't know about till this year is that dogs can sense migraines, especially migraine with aura, which is something I have. They can sense it 48 hours before it starts sometimes because
that's
of
amazing.
isn't
Isn't
it
that
amazing? And we know that there are dogs who can sniff out cancer, who can tell about a seizure. You can alert someone with epilepsy that they have a seizure coming, that can tell about low blood sugar for people with diabetes. And they do all this through their noses primarily. It is incredible. What we talked about earlier, the power of the dog's nose, that they can sense things that we never could and didn't even realize could be sensed until more recently. So yeah. So for instance, you mentioned your service dog. My migraine service dog actually alerts me to migraines about 10 hours before one is about to happen, and so he alerts and then he supports when if I'm not able to prevent it if it actually happens.
And so did he start that on his own, or did you work with him to help that?
He did. I got really lucky because he's an example. His name is Feeney. Those who follow the newsletter have seen Feeney's photos, and he is a rescue. He's a Great Pyrenees, half Great Pyrenees, 20% Siberian Husky, 15% American Pit Bull Terrier, and the rest is like a mix of hounds. And he uh, was my pet dog, and some people get really lucky that their pet dog bonds with them enough that they they can tell when something is off with their owner and they do something, like for Feeney will paw at me like insistently. And I started realizing that there was connection between when he was doing that and then, several hours later, I would predictably have a migraine. And it was always the exact same kind of pawing. He doesn't do it at any other time. And so he had been doing this. And, and being a silly human, I didn't put it together for a long time. And then I realized I am so lucky he's actually alerting me to, to my migraines. So some people, as you mentioned, as you're getting at, I think, is that have pets who offer this, and then, you're lucky enough to have that. But most service dogs, I think, do have to be trained to do this sort
Yeah.
of service. And I know
Yeah.
that's true for migraine service dogs too. They usually have to be trained.
Yeah, I had the same thing happen to me with him. He noticed when because I get PTSD, so he notices when I'm upset and he will come up and lean on me and hug, like he'll put his arm across me and hug me, and he'll do that until I hug him and I tell him I'm okay.
Oh, wow.
So, and he started that all by himself. I didn't, just like you, I didn't try, it just happened. And so I got lucky as well. So it's amazing how in tune the dog. I mean, you asked that first question, what makes dogs so special? Those things. That's what makes dogs special.
Yes. Yes. So, well, Jackie, I am going to get to the last question in a moment here, but before I do, is there anything else that you would like people to know?
Um, be kind.
Be kind. Do you think that working with dogs has changed you as a person?
I do. I mean, I think I'm a lot more understanding of people with their dogs. When I see them out, I think, oh, I want to help you with that. I know you're trying your best, and you just see it in their eyes. Like I really want to just walk with my dog.
Yeah, and people love their dogs and they want,
Mm.
they want what's best for their dogs and they just may not know how to get there. So
Yeah.
we're lucky
Yeah.
to have
You're a lot
trainers
more
like you to
understanding.
help us.
That's why I'm here.
So speaking of which, how can people find you and your training services?
So I'm online at renspups.com, renspups.com. I'm on Facebook, Ren's Pups on Facebook. Um, I had an Instagram account, but I'm not really on it as much anymore. So I think those are really the two best ways to get a hold of me. I do have a YouTube channel too, so there's Ren's Pups on YouTube as well.
Oh, that's great. We'll link to all of those. Okay, great. Do you still offer Zoom sessions for anyone who might not be in your area?
Yeah, sure.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Okay, so Jackie, you know that the motto of Positive Vibes is keep on the sunny side. So, how do you keep on the sunny side?
I wake up every day and smile because I'm happy to be here, and I got my puppy who comes in and greets me and gives me hugs. So I'm
And what
happy to be here.
what could be better than that? Well, thank you so much for being on Positive Vibes, Jackie. It's been such a pleasure.
Oh, thank you. It's been so great. I miss talking to you.
You too. Thank you again. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Positive Vibes on the Sunny Side. If you'd like to support Positive Vibes, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/ on the sunny side. That's BUY me, ME, a coffee.com/ on the sunny side. And the link will be in the show notes. Any amount you choose will help this podcast moving forward, and it's so appreciated. And also, please, please tell others, your friends and family about the podcast and hit subscribe or follow for this podcast on whichever platform you like to listen to and use for your podcasts. Or if you're on the YouTube channel, please subscribe to the channel so you won't miss an episode going forward. That will also help others discover this podcast, because the more followers and subscribers a podcast has, the more the platform shows it to other people who might not have discovered it otherwise. So I really appreciate your help and your support. And this is Yasmine signing off until next time and reminding you to keep on the sunny side.